Today in this session we are going to discuss about ThickLint, its architecture, and how do we perform penetration testing on ThickLint applications. So now let's get started with a brief introduction. A ThickLint is also referred to as heavy, rich, or fat client, which is basically a computer client in client-server architecture or the network. So that typically provides the rich functionality independent of the central server. ThickLint applications have been around for many years and can still be found within variety of organizations across different industries and sizes. So they are majorly used across organizations for their internal operations. But due to the adoption of hybrid infrastructure architecture, ThickLint applications can become a better target for attackers. Penetration testing of ThickLint involves both local and server-side processing and often uses proprietary protocols for communication. So a simple automated assessment scanning is not sufficient, and testing ThickLint application requires a lot of patience and methodical approach. Moreover, the process often requires a specialized use of tools and custom testing setup. So ThickLint testing can, however, be exciting for penetration testers because the attack surface of these applications can be significant. But unlike any other web applications or infrastructure penetration testing, ThickLint testing have a more notable success rate because the client is available locally and hence critical vulnerabilities may be found during the engagement itself. So the examples of ThickLint application can be Google Talk, Yahoo Messenger, Microsoft Outlook, etc. Yeah. So ThickLint applications can be developed using various programming languages such as .NET, Java, C++, Microsoft Silverlight. Next. Next, coming to the architecture of ThickLints. On the basis of architecture, there are two types of ThickLints: those that are developed on 2-tier and those developed on 3-tier. The ThickLint developed on 2-tier architecture directly communicates with the database through a database connection drivers like Open Database Connection and Java Database Connection. So ThickLints developed on 2-tier architecture send database queries directly to the database, and the business logic is executed on the basis of records or response from the server. For example, imagine a HR application that was installed on the client computer, and in order to retrieve the employee's information, it communicates directly with the HR database server itself. Next. Yeah. ThickLints developed on 3-tier architecture have three components: client application, application server, database. So in this architecture, the client application communicates with the application server over HTTP or HTTPS protocol, and the application server in return queries a database to fetch or store the data. So though the 2-tier architecture is easy to implement as it offers good performance, it is also not considered it is also considered to be little risky, as there is a high possibility for intruders to gain access to the database and exploit other traditional vulnerabilities in the ThickLint. So 3-tier architecture has a security advantage over 2-tier because it prevents the end user from communicating directly with the database server. So how do we actually perform testing on ThickLint applications? So ThickLint applications are generally more complicated and customized than web or mobile applications. So they need a specific approach when it comes to the penetration testing. So the first step to take when facing a thick client application is to gather information about it, such as discovering what technologies are being used on both the client and the server side, and figuring out the application's functionalities and behavior, identifying the different entry points of the user input, understanding the security mechanisms used by the application, and identifying common vulnerabilities, like languages, what languages and frameworks are being used by the application. So now Venkat is going to explain about what all the tools that can be used to perform the testing, and how do we actually perform the testing on the client applications.
Yeah, thank you, Meghna. So basically, we can move forward with the two type of testings. We have divided it into two types. So one is static and other is dynamic. So in static thick line testing, we do not have to run the application. We try to open the application, uh, check the local storage, whether any sensitive information is present in that installation media of that particular thick client, and we also inspect that exe file, the thick line file, whether any sensitive hard coded sensitive information is present or not. And weak code quality, we also check any logic in code that can be reveals internal system logic, something like that. It is also basically refers to lack of obfuscation in the client. And also we'll check for weak configuration management, whether that for example an application may contain database connectivity, which the database details itself are present, like URL of the database or something, like some configuration information is available in the in the particular the client local storage. Okay, and we also check for logs that the client, when the client is running it, or installation, and while installation it will make some files, it creates some files and registry entries, which we also check for uh, whether it is storing some many username, password, such things in the local logs itself. And when it comes to dynamic, we will try to find injection vulnerabilities, and we also try to find unencrypted communication. Maybe the application using HTTP, or maybe some applications also uses, some clients may also use proprietary uh, uh, protocols, which may be vulnerable to unencrypted communication. We can see the application is communicating without any encryption, so that we can see all the data that is passing uh, through the packets. We will use Wireshark to that. And the DLL, we will try to hijack. We will try to find DLL hijacking using DLL hijacker application. And insecure password management, same as web application. Uh, some clients may also contain to change password prompts and to create a user. So there we can also check insecure password management, and we also check any errors that we can produce by intercepting that communication between client and server. And we also check some security misconfiguration. And and if the application is related to banking or some kind of a banking application, and we also try to check, for example, there is a thick client that you are using to buy something, and it requires your credit card information. We also check that credit card information is dumping in memory, for example in RAM. And if the application is allowing file uploads, and we can also check for malicious file uploads. And finally we try to reverse engineer the application, and we tend to do some patching or some kind of manipulation in order to uh, hack that application. So let's move to practical part. We have a lot of tools that we can explain. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So for this session, I have prepared DVTA. I have configured DVTA. So DVTA is nothing but damn vulnerable thick client application. So I think my screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have configured. So if you need this DVTA configuration and all, it is present in GitHub, and you can configure. There are a lot of videos and tutorials that you can gather from Google itself, and you can configure it. So once you configure, you can create one account. I've already created one account. Let us check whether it is working or not. Yeah, it is working. Okay. So first let us check any configuration sensitive information that is present in DVW itself. So let us check. So this is the installation part of that DVTA installation part. So we'll go to DVTA and let's try and browse the exe file. So here is the exe file, and you can see there is a one DVTA exe.configuration file. It looks like some kind of configuration file. Let us open this and check whether any sensitive information present in this configuration file. So this will be one of the test case that we can perform in case of declines. So here you can see there is database server address is there, database name is there, database username is there, and this is something that looks like a base64 database password. There are some keys, is FTP server address is there. So basically we can try to check all these configuration files of the client, whether we can find any sensitive information, and later we can take this note information and we can try to attack that particular server or FTP server, etc. And you can also see there here it is showing that it is developed using .NET framework. So this information is also crucial. So there is one more tool that we can discuss, uh, which is CFF Explorer. So this is actually a tool that gathers information about that particular exe. So if you open that any exe file, you can open any exe file and it will show you what type of, it will gather some information about that particular exe. For example, it is clearly showing that it is a .NET assembly, which refers to .NET which is developed by .NET, and Microsoft Visual Studio is used to develop this one. So basically, by CFF Explorer, you can actually gather some information about the client application. Okay, and yeah, so let us try to verify whether this application is using encrypted communication or not. So before logging in, I will use Wireshark. Wireshark is a packet capturing tool. It sniff every packet that is moving from our system. So here we will select Ethernet. We will try to log in. I'm not sure it will take because the server and client is in the same PC. Let's do one thing. Let's try it different way. So basically, if you have the client installed in your the client is installed in your PC and server is different one. So basically, you can use Wireshark and you can grab that information. Basically, I will tell you how we can check that. So here the problem is we are using client and server we have set up in one place. So let's try it selecting the loopback. Yeah. So you can see when I'm logged in, I have run this Wireshark tool in the background. So you can inspect these packets, each and every packets to find the data that we have entered, username and password. So to make it simple, you can simply Control F and you can search for that particular string that you are trying to find. So you can select packet bytes string find. Here you can see. So in this particular packet, we can see that Mr. PVR is there. Okay. So if you go to and if you follow the TCP stream, you can find that particular username and password here. So you can see a lot of details here. So you have that SQL queries there. Select star from users where username equal to Mr. PVR and password equal to Mr. PVR. So this is that username password. So you can clearly say that there is no encryption enabled here. So the traffic from client to server is going through HTTP. So this application is vulnerable to unencrypted communication. Okay. So this is one of the test case. And what if that application, for example, this application is using HTTPS or some kind of encryption? So how can we find when the if you try to find that information when that encrypted? You can use a tool called Echo Mirage. Okay, so here is a tool Echo Mirage. So for example, this application is using HTTPS and we cannot intercept that data. And Echo Mirage is simply an application. It is like a Burpsy, like we are using the Burpsy. So the same application for tick client. So for tick client, it is like a Burpsy. So I can open the this is a exe which is running. I think we can inject directly. So let us go to the exe file, dvta, dvta bin release exe. So you can load that exe file by using Echo Mirage. And what is that? What is do is it actually injects some kind of DLL into that in order to intercept the HTTPS traffic. So I think this is Echo Mirage's old version. I tried to find, but it was hard to find the new version. Let us see whether it executes or not. Let's try. Oh, it's not working. So let's try with the process injection. So actually we tried to open that application directly from that one. So now let's try injecting into the DVTA. Okay. So let's go active inject into DVTA. Okay, maybe this Echo Mirage is not compatible with this one. No problem. So basically, the same way we have shown you. So basically, if this is HTTP, this application DVT is using, if it is using encrypted communication, you can simply inject these by using Echo Mirage. You can directly inject it to that DVTA, and you can once it is injected in the logs, it will show if that communication is encrypted. Also, we can see the traffic. So basically, if you use Wireshark when the communication is encrypted, we cannot see anything. It will be something kind of gibberish, so we cannot see that. So in this case, this DVT is not compatible. So let's move forward. So okay, so now let us check sensed information in memory dump. Okay, for example, we have a thick client. Let's end this. So okay, so when we are trying to log in, so these information should not be stored anywhere. For example, I am logging into this application, and now you can see I'm logged in. So you can take a dump of this particular learning file. This can be done using Windows itself. We don't need any other tool for this. You can directly go to the DVDA, and you can go to this main. Go to you can directly click that, and you can also go to details itself. You can right click it, and you can create dump file. So in the dump file, what it makes, it takes all that data that is using with the for the application. For example, the RAM memory, the hard disk memory, everything. It will store that particular in temp folder. You can go to temp%, and you can go there. And if you see, yeah, here you can see that it created a DVTA dump file. Okay, so we can inspect this particular dump file. Let's do that again. Right click, create dump file. You can copy, paste the dump file here. Yeah. So now the DMP file is a kind of extension. You can use WinHex to browse that one. So let us open WinHex. It is a hex tool. Basically, we can open any file extension using this. So it basically shows you that content of that file in headers, and it shows us headers and trailer. So every application has some data. So you can see here. So you can see all that data that is using by RAM or something like that for that application. You can see here. So if you control F and you can find that username and password in the dump. Yeah, you can see. So you can see the same username, password, and email address is available in memory dump. So for example, if it's a banking application or some kind of you know sensitive application like banking, so you can find any details like username, password, or credit card information here. So it may be vulnerable. So it process a high risk to that particular organization. Okay, so here you can check that. So we have done this. So let's move to the next test case. Okay, so and one more thing we can do. So basically, this DVTA is a .NET based exe file. So we can try to perform reverse engineering as well. So there is one tool called DNSPy. So basically, this is a tool that we can edit any. So for example, this is a part where we can reverse engineer that application. So here you can see already opened this application using DNSPy. So DNSPy is particularly designed for .NET applications. Okay, so if you open the DVTA and you can, these are all the modules that this application contains. For example, we can also call as a function, something like that. So you can inspect every code. For example, you can see there are some strings present here. Please enter all the fields. Data was saved successfully. So you can see and find any hard coded information here. Basically, the application has any hard coded information about some kind of server details, something like that. Let's check. So here one function is the admin. So let's check that. FTP server. Okay. Admin login. Okay. There is one called FTP client. So here you can see there is some kind of FTP, and there is password as well. If you carefully observe. Okay, these details are loading from this admin.csv file. CSV file. Okay, so you can here clearly see that this application is storing hard-coded credentials in that source code itself. So this belongs to one refers to that vulnerability. Okay, yeah, that's it for this. You can also basically you can what we can do is we can also try to change the code if there is some kind of logic. For example, if there is any login logic or some kind of logic here, you can basically right click here and you can go to edit method and you can write the code, you can change the code and you can compile it and you can save this as another file like dvta1 or 2, like a patching an application. You can do that and you can try to log in and try to bypass some controls if they are enforced any in that particular the client itself. Okay, so yeah, and one more thing, you can see there is one application called DLL hijacker. So basically this is the easiest part that we can do. You can directly uh, open that application using this DLL hijacker. It automatically checks whether the application is vulnerable to DLL injection. So let's go to DVTA bin release DVTA. Yeah. So just start audit. It will try to run the application using injecting some kind of malicious DLL files and try to exploit the DLL hijacking vulnerabilities. So I think this application is running. Okay, so if the application contains some kind of malicious DLLs or DLLs that are vulnerable to DLL injection, so it will report. So here you can see there are no DLLs found for this app. So actually there are no DLLs. If that application has some kind of DLLs and the DLLs are available or vulnerable to DLL hijacking, it will recognize automatically. This process is also you can try to do manually, but sometimes it is impossible because the DLL files that we are using to hijack are generally blacklisted by these antivirus. So basically, if we try that, it will block. So DLL hijack we have completed, and there are a lot of tools. So thick line testing is not you can say there is no limited number of test cases. You can also perform buffer overflow. You can perform or else you can try to reverse engineer it. There are a lot of applications. So there is IDA, which is called disassembler. You can try to disassemble this particular exe file by using it. Basically generates C code. If that application is not .NET, you can use IDA Pro, and you can reverse engineer the application. Or some there is a Binary Ninja. If that application is Linux executable or some kind of APK, also you can try using Binary Ninja. And there is one more tool called Ghidra, which is NSA tool, uh, which is developed by NSA for reverse engineering application. This you can also use this. So basically, these all are. It takes a lot of time to learn on these tools, but basically we can perform our test cases that we have shown. Like we have also discussed about insecure local storage. We have seen hard coded sensitive information in files. We can also try and check weak code qualities. For example, let us say there is some logic behind an application which is stored in that decline exe for calculating some kind of uh, uh, cost or something like that. We can modify that code and we can change that code, and we can decrease the item of the cost of that item, something like that. And we can check configuration, weak configuration we can check, and we can check sometimes and when you are running an ethic client application, it actually modifies some kind of registry keys. Registry keys are present in Windows, those that can be changed. So you can also check by using Regshot. There is one application called Regshot which monitors that registry keys of at that particular time when that application is running, and you can review those in order to check whether it is modifying or not. And by using Echo Mirage, like basically if you use Echo Mirage, that Echo Mirage is not working in our system and our setup. So whenever there is Echo Mirage, it is basically like a burp tree. So whenever you inject that application using Echo Mirage, and you can see that traffic that is going, that request and response on the server, you can check it there, and basically you can modify that. You can modify, for example, it is uh, you can see that there is one query, select star from username and password. So you can try to change that query, and you can bring some data performing SQL injection, that kind of attacks. And we have seen data hijacking, we have seen insecure uh, data storage. Basically, these are the some of the most performed test cases when it's come to uh, testing the client. So I think that's it. So if you have any queries, let me know.